Hi everyone, today we're making a vegetable stir fry with cashew nuts and tofu. Welcome to Cook Vegan, I'm Farah Shamas and I'm going to walk you through this super easy recipe that you can make literally with your kids running around and have a yummy delicious meal at home in maybe 15 minutes only. So first of all, I'm going to put on our pan here. I'm going to turn that up to the highest heat, and that's number 9, just to get the oil nice and warm. You could use sesame oil if you really want that Asian flavor, but personally I find sesame oil, as delicious as it is, it's quite heavy, so I prefer to use olive oil. And you could also use coconut oil or odorless coconut oil as well. So we're just gonna swizzle that around. Now I have a selection of vegetables here. The nice thing about this is that you can use pretty much any vegetables that you have at home. So you don't have to feel obliged by going out and getting, I would recommend these, but if you've got other things at home, even if you have things in your freezer, you can go with that. Now we have some firm tofu here, and what I'm gonna do now that that's warm, I'm just gonna throw that into the pan first. I don't wanna leave this in the pan the whole time, but I'm gonna put that in from now, just so that I managed to coat all the tofu. This tofu is cut into lovely cubes, and I'm going to coat that in the olive oil. Oh, 1 minute. Pan moved off the heat, and we'll start to see that sizzling as well. So I'll show you that in 1 second. Okay, so this has literally been on for only about 3-4 minutes. And I've been not stirring it too much because I don't want these lovely cubes to crumble and break. I just want them to get a little bit golden. Now some people, before they make firm tofu into a dish like this, they can press it and just get out the remaining extra liquid in and make it even firmer. But personally, I quite like that. I like it to be a bit softer on the inside. It depends how you want the texture to be, really, and it's completely a personal choice. I'm not looking to make a meat substitute in this. I like the texture and the flavor of tofu, but tofu in itself doesn't really taste it very much. It's quite a bland substance. So once that is golden, I'm just going to remove this out of the oil. Can also use my little tongs here. So I put this on a lower heat. If you try and cook it too high, then the oil, which will coat, is supposed to be coating all of this tofu and the lovely ingredients below and really soaking up the flavor, is just going to start popping, and you're definitely going to need an apron for that. So I'm not completely draining these because these are going to go back in the pan. If you wanted to save time, you can do this in a separate pan while you make your vegetables. However, I'd rather save time washing up than save a couple of minutes, because literally we're only adding 3 to 4 minutes, as I said, onto our overall cooking time by using the same pan. So I've got this out, and so you can see that's a small plate there of tofu that we've just made into this lovely golden color. And now I'm going to keep this hot oil in, and I'm going to add my first lot of ingredients to the vegetable stir fry. So this is 2 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped, and 1 whole onion, a medium-sized white onion. Again, it doesn't really matter how big the onion is. If you've got a large one at home, fine. Small, you could put 2 in. Again, it's personal taste. I love the smell of this. Now, I always put this in first, and we just want to saute that and make that just sweat a little, get caramelized, give it a nice flavor that will really add to the overall vegetable stir fry. So I'm just going to coat that in, and now I'm turning back up the heat so that we get a nice result, and obviously we can cook it quicker. There we go. So you can have a look at this on the... And once that started to also get a lovely golden color, I'm going to start adding in the other vegetables. Now today we've got an array of vegetables here, and I love this because it's super colorful like a rainbow. So we have some cauliflower. If you have broccoli, that's also delicious. I don't have any available today. We've got our carrots. That's about 3 carrots here, cut roughly chopped. And we have two different types of beans here. I'll show you that. So we've got our flat beans, our mange tout, and our regular round beans. Also, we've just trimmed off the edges to make it easier to eat and maybe less chewy. And so we have 3 whole plates here of vegetables. You can completely adjust the quantity to your size of the family, the family that you are. Oh, I don't even know why I'm putting this. 1 minute. I'll just put that behind me. And we've also got a nice plate here of zucchini, courgettes, and also mushrooms. So the quantity that I'm using here today, and we're quite a few people in this house, so that's why we try to make more things, and everybody loves this. So we have here about a handful of green beans, a smaller handful of mange tout, about 3 carrots here, small carrots. We have here 2 large green zucchini. You can also use white, and about 5 button mushrooms sliced. And later on, we are going to add cashews as well. So I've got those here ready. I've also got some spare water, which I'm sure anyway you can reach really easily in the kitchen, wherever you are. I've got some soya, and I have salt as well to show you guys, because you could use either or. Some people don't like soya. You can also use tamari sauce. But if you don't want at all that salty flavor, then you can add just a tiny pinch of Himalayan salt or sea salt as well. We personally, I love that soy, and it gives it that Asian taste and texture. And as I said, also if you use sesame oil, then you really are going for that almost Chinese-y flavor. So now that our beautiful onions are getting nice and soft and turning a little bit yellow, they're not quite golden yet, this is the right time. I'm going to add in our carrots. Carrots always take a bit longer, so I always prefer to add those in a few minutes before. And I won't keep you guys waiting for these to be done. I'll show you as I add in the next bit of ingredients. So I'll put the carrots in. I'll coat those as well in oil. That's why when you saw the oil going at the beginning, it might have looked like quite a lot. And it almost looked like we were deep frying the tofu, but we did really want those flavors, that oil to really penetrate the tofu there. And now this is going to be enough to keep coating all the vegetables that go in. So I'm going to keep continuously stirring that. I do have this still on a high heat, and that's what I want. It's all so that we can get this done quicker and it will taste delicious. So I'll show you in a minute as I add the others. So the carrots have been on for about 5 minutes now. Carrots take, as I said, much longer than the rest of the ingredients to get softer. And while it's nice to still have that crunchy flavor in the carrots and texture, we don't want it to be completely out of sync with the rest of our ingredients. So I'm adding the green beans now as well. And I personally love it when all types of beans still have that yummy crunchiness. We don't want a soggy stir fry, although to be honest, if you've got leftovers and then they are a little bit, I also don't mind. I'm having a huge reminiscing moment here where I used to make stir fries all the time as a student. So I hope there are some students watching this to see how easy it is to make delicious, healthy, whole foods that are plant-based. So whether you're vegan or not, Cook Vegan is for everyone. It's not just for vegans. And I really want to try and encourage everyone out there just to have more and more plant-based meals. So even if you're not vegan, you can have a vegan meal, you can have a vegan day, you can have a vegan few days, or you could be flexitarian as well. And we're going to actually have this with our brown rice. There's another video, so do check that out, how easy it is to make brown rice. And in a second, I'll show you as we start adding the rest of the ingredients. Now that all our beautiful beans have been in for again about 4 minutes here, and they've all been coated nicely, so you can see again the amount of oil we added, which was just enough to coat the bottom of this wok in about 1/2 centimeter. Now I'm going to add our delicious zucchini, so I'll put that in. Now zucchini as well, we definitely don't want the zucchini to get all soggy. So I'm just going to stir that in. Now the zucchini I'll only leave for about 1 minute more than the cauliflower that I've got here. And the same thing if you do have broccoli. I love, love, love broccoli and stir fry. And if you can get your hands on the Chinese style broccoli, that's even better. But unfortunately I don't have it now, so this is making the most of everything we've got here. So now that I'm just stirring that around, and the flavors are all really coming together. So there we go. Okay, and now I'm going to add in our cauliflower. So I'll put that aside. And I'll stir that around. And then this will need to be left for, again, about 3 minutes, I would say. I might get the lid now and just cover this so that they can also start steaming. And after 3 minutes, I'm going to add the mushrooms. So we've had this covered with the lid. I'll just put that on the side, and I'm going to do a quick stir. There we go, everything is so nice. And now I'm going to throw in the mushrooms. So that's the last ingredient. The mushrooms are always done the quickest, so definitely, as a rule, always leave those to the end. Now, unfortunately as well, mushrooms are a bit like tofu. They keep breaking if they're stirred for too long, but what can we do? So that's also another reason why it's good to add them right at the end. Now, as I said before, I'll just stir that in and then put the lid back on to let that steam away. Now, as I said before, you have the choice now. You could leave this plain and just let all those beautiful flavors come together and have it as a plain stir fry. And maybe you would want to add a tiny bit of water just to make sure nothing sticks to the pan and it is all cooked properly, and then you don't overdo it with the oil. And then you could add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Another option is to put a little bit of vegetable stock. So I have 1 cube here of vegetable stock. Now that's something that personally I'm definitely going to do. And also I'm going to leave the salt for this one, and I'm going to add some soy sauce. So to get some flavors. And also we want our cashews and our tofu to come in. So now that that's been on just only for a minute with the mushrooms, as I said before, they don't need so long, so they can cook as it's going along. I'm going to just crumble the vegetable stock on top here. Again, if you're using any type of vegetable stock, you can just go with that. It just gives it that little bit extra flavour. I'm not going to use any salt because I've got soya here. Now this is a darker soya sauce, so I'll get a spoon just to measure, because I always do things, just as we feel. But I'll, if you use darker soya sauce, oh well, there you go. So that was 1.5 tablespoons. That's all that was in the bottle left. Usually I think I'd put a little bit more than that. But with the darker soy sauce, I'm gonna stir that around now just to get some flavor and coloring. And I'm gonna add a little bit of water now. So this is anyway about 1/2 cup of water. I'm gonna put even half of that. So that's only, now we've got about 1/4 of a cup of water in here. And just stir that in. And then of course the vegetable stock also gets dissolved around. I personally quite like that flavour of having a little bit more on different vegetables, which is why we've crumbled it in here. If you do want, you could dissolve your vegetable stock before in about 1/4 cup of water and then just throw that in, so it'll be more even. But this way, some of it is stuck to different vegetables, and I find that quite interesting. And I will add a little bit of pepper. So this is ground black pepper, and I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon of pepper in here as well. So just move that around. So nice. And now the final ingredients, if I don't throw it all out of the pan, there we go, is to put in our cashews. So I've got 1 cup here of cashews. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know the best way to eat nuts is to pre-soak them, and then you get all your delicious nutrients out of it. So I'm just going to turn down my rice as I'm being blown away by steam. So, so good, they smell so good. So this is a cup of, and these are already salted cashews. Now you can use raw, obviously that's better for you. Obviously it's better if it's pre-soaked, but I like it to be a little bit crunchy. I don't want soggy cashews in a stir fry. So we do leave those to the end, but I am going to put them in from now just to get some of the flavors and not be too crunchy and too hard. So I'll put those in there. And this is also a good time now to put back in our already bronzed and golden tofu. So here it is. It was the first thing we made right at the beginning. And I put that in as well. And I'm just going to have a light stir here around. Again, don't be too strong with your stirring right at the ends, because we don't want all these delicious vegetables and tofu and mushrooms and everything else to start breaking up and just not really looking that nice or presentable. So we just stir these gently, almost like making a cake. We just fold it all in. There we go. Oh, look at the colours here. It's just so beautiful. You can also add cabbage to this, which is also delicious. The only thing, if you do add beautiful purple cabbage, which is stunning, it's almost like a dye that ends up running into all the rest of the ingredients. So you end up with this not so attractive purple kind of stew almost, instead of a beautiful stir fry. So I would say if you are using red or purple cabbage, it's probably better to do what we did at the beginning. Fry it on the side, maybe not even in the same pan so that all that colour stays. Fry it on the side and then add it at the end or even on the side. So now that all those flavours are mixed in, we have that there. I'm going to just leave that to gently steam and stew away, only for, again, I'd say about 3 minutes, just to make sure that everything is cooked together and all the flavours come in, and then we're done. So now that it has had 3 to 5 minutes, again, you have to gauge it yourself depending on your stove, on what exact vegetables you put in, and I'll just stir that around. It's all looking great. Now a little tip on maybe any stew, but definitely a stir fry, to see when it's done. Everything else is quite nice, crunchy, but the carrots, you don't want them too raw. So you can take a little bit of a carrot, and I'll just try it there. Nice. Still got the crunch, but it's soft enough to eat. The flavors there. It's perfect. It's not soggy. It's not raw. It's great. So there we go. And the cauliflower is also, as you can see, I mean, cauliflower is great raw anyway, but the cauliflower is definitely not soggy, because that's also something we don't want, and the same thing with broccoli. So the cauliflower there is looking good. Just keep that on the side. Leave that in a sec when it cools. So now the final ingredients, which is also just makes it look nice and looks more also Asian authentic. I'm going to throw a few, this is not Nescafe, this is the jar we use, a few sesame seeds on top to give it that beautiful flavour. So this is half a tablespoon. So we'll just throw in about 1 tablespoon worth of sesame seeds on the top. And to be honest, there you go, it looks perfect presented, but we can stir that around as well. And everyone is going to love that. There we go, see? And then of course you make sure your family and your kids get all their calcium as well. So good. So you've got a bit of everything in there. And from a simple array of vegetables and some nuts and seeds, and of course tofu with our beans, we have everything there. We've got a complete meal, and obviously set on our lovely either brown rice or wild rice, whatever you like, or if you do like buckwheat or quinoa, you can go with an array of grains to go with that, and of course yummy noodles too, other ideas. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you're a student out there, I used to make this all the time as a student. Oh my goodness, so easy, even late at night, coming in from being out and just whipping this up. It's so easy. And a little hack for you guys, you can also make this with frozen vegetables in your freezer, so really easy. But this is all useful information and timing so that you don't end up with a sludgy stir fry that isn't crunchy and delicious and nutritious. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions at all, do put them below and I'll get back to you. And please don't forget to subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being part of my cook vegan journey. It's my pleasure to bring you guys all these delicious meals that we make at home and I make for my family. The kids love them, my husband loves them. He's not vegan, but he does enjoy them. So I hope you guys do too. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in too. And don't forget to watch how to make our rice different videos. Take care, bye.